Hey, you quadricycle enthusiasts and viewers alike. Welcome to part 5 of the Vierbike Quadra Sprint Phase 2 modifications. Well, viewers, I wasn't expecting so many problems getting this frame welded up for the motor mount. Give you the storyline. When Julian first looked at it, the welder I'm hiring, he said that it would be better if he could do it down at the shop. He could do a better job on it. So I stripped the bike down, and now it fits an SUV, so I can take it to him. So I give him a call, and he said the best time to bring it in is on Wednesday, April the 3rd. Well, the problem is my wife is leaving town on April 4th, and she's taking the car, and she won't be back until April the 10th. He didn't like that idea, so he said to give him a call on April 10th, and we'll arrange to get it down at the shop and get it welded up. So for this episode, we're going to do the right pedal pusher driving axle. We're going to match it up to the left side. We're also going to finish tabling up the lighting system for the Quadra, and we're also going to start tabling up and harnessing up the new motor we have for it on the table to bench test it, make sure we hook it all up right. So stay tuned. Okay, viewers, we got some more packages here. See what we got here. I kind of know what this is. I believe this is my axle. I decided to cut my own axle because they wanted to charge me $20 to cut it. Plus, they wanted to charge me for a whole axle. So I decided, well, you know what? I'll just cut my own axle. Should be the axle. Yes, ma'am. Well packaged. So I need to cut that to 29.5 inches. Chop saw. I got a cutter for it, so it was no big deal. I just thought maybe I'd have them cut it for me, so I wouldn't have to do it. But they got tape everywhere in this thing. I think I'll deal with this later. Okay, what else we got here? Let's see. We got here fuse holders. I need these for the lighting system, and so I got those. Duck. Here. Oh, okay. This is a full set of fuses. I needed some of these that I have handy. Anywhere from 25 amp to 30 amp to 10 amp to 5 amps fuse set. Nice little box. Duck. Okay. Alright, I've been wanting these. These are some bicycle wrenches. Cheap set, but I get in these situations where I need to get down and tighten up the bearings and races on the bikes, and it's nice to be able to do that without having to take the tire off, you know, like the rear tire or the front tire. And I never have the right wrench because they're not thin enough, and these are bicycle wrenches. They're thin, and I think these, but bag for it, so you can put it all in the bag, but I'll eventually hang them up. But anywhere from a 20, I think it was a 24 millimeter, all the way down to 10 millimeter, 8 millimeter. So I got a full set of thin wrenches. These are really handy. And if I'm gonna have a little bike shop, I'm gonna do tune-ups, it's imperative I have these wrenches. So, awesome. Those are cool. Duck. Oh, you didn't duck. What do we got in here? I still got some more stuff on order right now. Oh. Better be 2 of them in here. My rim liners. Oh, they came fast. I think these are the rim liners. Believe it or not, there's 2 of them. So, duck. You duck that time. That's all we got, boys and girls. Viewers, we got some more packages that came in. So let's see what we got here. I think this is pretty much it. There's a few more packages, but I pretty much got everything I need for the Quadra. Some more my other 2 Tuffy liners. So now we can definitely tube up all the tires now. Duck. Okay, this one I already opened up because I want to verify it. This is that air brake switch for the motor. Basically, it's a breaker. So if there's a short in the line, it'll pop. And once you resolve the problem, you just push on it and it'll reset the breaker instead of having a fuse. Now, originally, I was looking around for a 12 volt, a 48 volt inline fuse holder for 25 to 30 amp. And good luck, because all I could find was 12 volts, which wouldn't work. It would blow right away. So I had to do a shout out, and this is what a viewer, well not a viewer, but a person who has one of these motors used, and it has a little nut on it so you can mount it. So that's cool. That's perfect. Anyway, that's all we got for today. Okay, viewers, we got the Quadra lighting system all set up here. Everything's wired to this motorcycle switch, which goes on the console bar right below the steering wheel. What we have here is a horn, and we got turn signals. That's the back. This is the front, and then the left turn signal. That works. And then our running lights in the front and the 2 headlights. Now I got the regular, I didn't get the 3 mode. I only got the 1 mode. This is just, it comes on and it's bright. It's just a bright light. The brake switch is here. I can't pull on it, but it works. So when you put on the brake lights come on. They get really bright. Now what you really need to know is these LED lights, you have to run them through a blinker relay switch for your blinkers. Because other than that, when you turn them on, what will happen is they'll just come on, they won't flash. So that's what these are. One's for the left, one's for the right, or whatever. One's an input from the switch, and then the output to the lights. So what we're fixing to do now is we're going to do a runtime. We started at 9:30, so at 12:30, because I like to get at least a 3-hour runtime, and then we're going to check the capacity of the battery. Now how we do that is I know that battery takes about 8 hours to charge when it's fully depleted. Now this is a lithium battery, 12 cells, and I know my 8 cells take at least 8 hours, so I'm figuring 8 hours for this as well. So we'll run it for 3 hours, we'll shut it down, we'll hook up the battery to the charger and see how long it takes to charge it. Now if it only takes like 3 hours to charge it, then I can probably say we only used about that much capacity of the battery and we still had all that left. And that's desirable, because you don't want to deplete the battery completely, because when you do that you lose a cycle and the battery won't last that long. But if we set this up right, this battery will last at least 5 years. So that's where we're at. So once this is done, we're going to take this all out, put it in a box, and that'll be implemented on the bike towards the end. So viewers, this is what it looks like in the dark. Just giving you an idea. There's your blinkers, left and right blinkers, horn. It's pretty loud. It's better than that air horn I had, basically. And the front headlights, I didn't get the 3 mode, I just got the 1 mode, so they just go on high beam. We'll see how this works out. 3 hours, we'll see what happens. Okay viewers, we're at the hour-and-a-half mark. 1.5 hours, so we got another hour-and-a-half to go, and it's burning good. Now what I'm probably going to do is flip on one of these blinkers and just leave it on for 10 or 15 minutes, and then switch it over to, and switch it off, just to give it kind of a realistic type of runtime. So we'll check it again at it's 11:03, so we'll check it again at 12:31, 12:30ish, and that'll be our 3 hour mark, and we'll see how long it takes to charge it up. Okay viewers, we're at the 3 hour mark. It is 12:34, a little beyond that. So it looks good. It didn't dim down, it didn't go dead. So we're going to shut this all off, and we're going to put a charge in that battery, see how long it takes to charge. Okay viewers, it's real important when you charge a lithium battery, you have a lithium battery charger. You just can't charge it with a regular 12 volt battery charger. So I got it plugged in. There's a red light on it, so when that turns green it tells me it's charged. So what I'll be doing is I'll be checking on this every half hour. So it's 12:37, so at 1:07 I'll be checking it every half hour, so I know about when it charged up. Well, we're at the half hour mark, and guess what? It's charged up. So what that means is we hardly used any capacity out of that battery whatsoever. That's a good sign. So I can tear all this down and put it in the box and clear off this table and get it ready for the motor. Okay viewers, this is my wheel driving hub. This is the one that goes on the left side for the electric motor, and I'm going to drill the holes, so I'm using this as my template for the right side. So we're going to drill the holes in this thing. Let's squirt a little oil in here. A little oil on this. Line it up. Look good right there. Let's do this one next. This one should go right through. Okay, it's drilled. Okay, so I'll show you my little setup here. Well, cut me a little piece of axle so it fits on there. Back that screw off some more. This one off some more. It should slide right on out. go. There we go. So this is the left axle. Now this is for the right axle. So let me get a rag and wipe this off. So theoretically, we should be able to drop this in. And there's plenty of room to turn the bolt. That looks good. That looks good. And that looks good. So it's perfect. Because if you get these out of TIR, what will happen is it will do this. Because it's not center. Okay? So that's done. So the only thing we got left to do now is to make up the spoke spacer. We'll do that next. Okay viewers, this is the spoke spacer that goes between the wheel and the wheel driving hub so that the spokes don't hit against the wheel driving hub. So what I need to do, I need to grind all this black out, and then I need to grind a little, kind of like a little bowl on there, so it rests against the bearing real nice. So let the grinding begin. Okay, I got the spoke spacer pretty much the right circumference. So now what I need to do is I'm gonna grind the sides down. I've been working on a little bit. I got about a 1/16 more of an inch to go because I want it a little bit thinner. So almost there. Probably one more time. I'm going to let this thing cool down. The water's hot and this is kind of hot. Well, you can see it's almost there. It's just maybe a 32nd of an inch difference. It's probably good enough.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're going to leave it. And now we're going to put our bowl in there and drill our holes. Yes. Okay. Here we go. Okay, we want something like that. Now we're going to switch out our grinding machine here. Okay, we've got our other grinder mounted, and this, you can see this has like a taper to it, so this will allow me to get in there and grind that out. So here we go. Okay, I think that might be good enough. Okay, we're going to open these holes up a little bit bigger. Okay, without the spoke spacer, you can see that the driving hub is resting on the spokes. So when we tighten up on it, it would flatten out the spokes. We don't want that. So we came up with this spacer, and it slides down like that, so it doesn't hit on any of the spokes. And this will slide down. Now we can bolt it up. So let's see if it rocks. It doesn't rock. That's what we want. That's why we put that little bowl in it, so it sits over that bearing just a little bit better. My cutting wheel's getting a little bit dull, the grinding wheel. I may have to replace it. I think I have a replacement down below. If not, I'll have to go down and get one, but we'll see what we can do with it. Now to the grinding wheel. Alright. Get these burrs out. So you can see how that bolt, this Allen head, drops right in, all the way around. There. I have to get some bolts. I haven't got them yet. But these are 1-inch stainless steel bolts with lock nuts. And so what you do is you bolt it together and it bolts it to the wheel that drives the wheel. That's how it works. Okay, viewers, this is a diagram wiring hookup for the motor system, the 48 volt, 1800 watt motor with the 32 amp controller. And this is something I never hooked up before, the hall wire and all that stuff. But let me zoom in here. I was a little confused about this. You know, you're dealing with these Chinese and their interpretation in English is not too good. Anyway, this comes from the battery to the controller. And it says 25 amp air brake switch, as similar with fuse. What that really means is that it's a breaker. It's a 25 amp DC 48 volt breaker. I had to reach out online to with some of the other people that bought these, and the guy gave me a link to buy it. It was like $2, so I ordered it. Should be here in a few days. But let me just go down the list here and show you what we're going to need to hook up. We need to hook up the hall wire. We need to hook, the battery indicator is optional. I have a battery indicator, so I'm going to go ahead and hook that up. Inverted gears, that's for the reversed and forward. The 3-speed gears, we don't need to hook that up. The braking, we don't need to hook that up. The ignition switch, we need to hook that up. That's just the on-off switch for the system. The throttle accelerator, we're going to hook that up, but we're using a thumb throttle. It's 3-wire. The braking light, we're not going to hook that up, and we don't need to hook up a charging plug. So, because I can just charge my battery right to the battery. So, that's pretty much it. So I kind of sorted out my wires. That's how I sorted out my wires to know what I'm going to be hooking up. Because some of these that are listed here, it's not everything. It's not everything. There's some other wires, like a clock wire for, you know, like an hour meter. You can hook up an hour meter to it, so you know how many hours of runtime you got on it. I'm not hooking that up. Don't need it. But this is basically it in a nutshell. Let me back off now. Try to back this thing off. Oop, wrong one. Wrong one. There we go. So that's it in a nutshell. So this is not going to be easy to, it's not like my other one. My other one was so easy to hook up. This one's going to be a little bit more difficult. So that's why I want to bench wire it, and it's a lot easier to do it that way. So if you need to make a change, it's real simple. It's a very subtle, easy change. Where if you got it hooked up on the bike, it makes everything difficult. And then once we know how it's wired, then we can implement that wiring onto the bike. Okay, viewers, these are the lead wires or lead wire plugs that are coming from the controller, and I just want to show you these are all the wires. They're on the speed controller. The throttle we're going to be hooking up. The charging plug we don't really need because I can charge up the battery right to the battery source. The hour meter or stopwatch, we're not going to hook that up. We don't need it. The power lock, ignition lock, that's basically your on and off switch. We're going to be using that, but we're not going to use the ignition switch because I don't want to carry two separate keys. Because I have a key for the battery, and if I hook up the power lock ignition switch, I have to carry an extra key, and they go in two separate places. So we're just going to use an on and off switch like I did the other one. Gears, I was a little confused, and I'm still a little confused, but you see it says stalls. So I think that's for something like if you had gears, somehow every time you shift a gear it stalls the motor, maybe. I'm assuming we don't need that. Invert gears, we'll need that. That's for the forward reverse switch. The hall wire, we need to hook that up because it is a brushless motor. The indicator, that's basically for your battery indicator or battery light. You know, like you have light, like 3-4 lights, so it shows your battery, what state your battery's in. I got just a battery indicator. It shows me voltage and also the state of the battery. So we'll be hooking that up. The braking light, we don't need that because I'm going to have my own lighting system on it. Braking, I didn't hook that up on my other one. Basically that's a safety type thing. So when you apply the brake, you cannot pull on the throttle. It won't go anywhere. So if you're sitting at a light and you got your hand on the brake and you accidentally hit the throttle, it's not going to go anywhere. I didn't use this feature. I didn't think it was necessary, and it worked fine without it. So basically we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wires to hook up. So viewers, based on what I just showed you, this is just how I sorted out my wires. These are the wires we need to hook up. These are the wires we don't need to do anything with. So that's how I sorted out my wires. Now I gotta sort out the wiring harness, and how I'll be doing that, I'll be doing continuity tests on it to figure out what is what, because it's kind of all wired together. Well viewers, it looks like we're running out of time. We got the motor components laid out on the table, ready to do the harnessing. That'll be picked up in part 6. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Hit that notification bell. If you have any comments or concerns or criticism, make sure you use that comment section down below. And remember one thing, if I can do it, you can do it.